Hello, Anneli Maley and Loki.
Got a special guest today, guys. How exciting.
This
This is Loki. He's a 3-year-old Labrador Ridgeback mix. He's my emotional support animal and he comes with me everywhere. So today he's joining me. He's literally 40 kilos and he's sitting on my lap. So
He's a very good boy.
he's made the drive down with me from Bendigo today to keep me company. So yeah, how great.
We are so happy you're both here. This is episode 5 of the WNBL show, heading into round 4 of the Signet WNBL, which is Fighting Period Poverty Round, as we partner with Share the Dignity for the first time. And we're going to talk a lot about it today. We've got some great guests coming up to chat about it, Anneli, but it's a really important round and we're raising some really crucial funds, but spreading awareness too.
I think so. I think it's awesome that the WNBL is doing this year. And I had an interview a couple of days ago where I made abundantly clear that, you know, period poverty is super important and all awareness around anything to do with periods, because I have been made to feel like it's a shameful topic to even talk about, you know, periods equal keep it hidden, you know, don't wear white uniforms, you know, that type of stuff. So, and to be clear, not all women get periods and not all people that get periods are women. You know, you have lots of non-binary people that get periods. You have people that don't identify as women get periods. So when we are talking about period poverty round and we talk about the power and the effect that it has on young girls and women in socioeconomic areas, we also need to identify that it's not just young girls and women, but it's all people that experience menstruate.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, I'm modelling the T-shirt, which Anneli and all the players in the league will be wearing in the warm-ups this weekend. Our fans, friends, family can all buy these T-shirts too, with money going towards our fundraising aim for the round, which is to raise $25,000 to fund a vending machine for sanitary products. So there's lots of ways you can get behind the round. We've seen players putting together the bags for Share the Dignity with the essential items, dropping them off at Bunnings, and there'll be collection points at the games right around the country this weekend where you can also donate sanitary products. So I love that there's not just one way to get involved. There's lots of ways as we really open the conversations around this topic.
I agree. And who doesn't love a trip to Bunnings?
Right?
It's the best place in the world.
Donate a bag, get a snag.
Yes.
Take your dog.
Go get
it's a day out.
Yeah. It's a whole event.
It's an event.
It's an event.
I love that. We'll tell you a bit later about some of the people we'll be talking to on the show this week about Fighting Period Poverty Round. But it's been a little while since we've seen you, Anneli. You were here before round 1. It's been a terrific start for the Spirit. 3 and zip, so undefeated, heading into a game against the other undefeated team, Townsville, this round, which we will talk about in the preview. But how's the start to the season been? How's it going down the highway?
It's been awesome. It's been really good. And I mentioned before that we have so many weapons and so many people that score, so many people that pass, shoot, play defense. And it's almost like a problem of who do we even put on the court? And we get Tessa Levy back this weekend, which is super exciting. Shout out to her. She's had a really amazing AFLW season. So, it'll just be exciting to have a whole group now that Levy's back on the floor. But, with Kelly Wilson and Kelsey Griffin running the show, it's a recipe for success always. And it's been really fun to play with them and learn from them every day.
Yeah, and the band back together with
Yes.
Levy as well, you know, being part of those initial Bendigo championships. It has been a couple of weeks, though, since Bendigo has been on court, because you were meant to play the Flyers last round. That game, we know, has been rescheduled to February.
Yeah.
And then at the weekend just gone was a break across the league. So how's that been? Have you still been training hard? What have you been up to?
Well, I felt like it was kind of preseason again, you know, without games, and, you know, love preseason. But I've missed the basketball. I've missed the basketball. I really have. But, you know, we've been getting very good at our Vortex warm-ups. As a team, we get very competitive. with the Vortex games because we need to get our competitive kind of energy out somewhere, and it's coming through in the Vortex warm-ups. We go ham in the paint with, it's kind of like American rules football but with a Vortex. It's awesome. But we've been doing our scrimmages and keeping on top of our fitness and stuff. Me personally, I have been doing some renovations on my house.
Yeah, what are you up to now?
So I painted my bathroom, and let me just preface it by I'm not a good renovator. I'm not a good home DIY person, but I do it. I do it, and I don't do it well, but I try,
You're doing it.
I'm doing it. I painted my bathroom with the wrong paint, so I'm going to have to do that again. But for now, it looks good.
What do you mean wrong paint, though?
I used a water-based paint over an oil-based paint. So when I have a shower, it bubbles. Anyway, I'll redo it. It's totally fine. Put up some shelves. Piper Dunlop, shout out to her. She is literally Bob the Builder reincarnate, teaching me how to use all the tools.
I did see that, yeah.
And every time I start a new home project, she kind of walks into the room, puts her hands on the hips, like, what are you doing? So she's helped me with a lot of things. She's done a lot of damage control. The other day after practice last week, I was sitting on the couch and kind of sitting how I am right now with Loki on my lap, and I was just thinking, I was like, what am I going to do today? And then I locked on to the disconnected gas heater. I have an old gas heater in my house. I was just staring at it. I was like, I wonder if that comes out of the wall. Keep in mind, I have no tools. I had a spoon. I didn't have gloves, so I put socks on my hands. And I pulled the gas heater out of the wall with a spoon and my socks. And then there was a couple screws left over, so my neighbour came over and helped me get the rest out. Turns out I have a fireplace. So I had to spend the afternoon shoveling, not with a shovel, with a spoon into a bag, all the ash and leftover bricks and debris. But it worked. A spoon and some socks on my hands, and we have a clean slate. We're putting in a fireplace.
You have a fireplace.
I have a
that
fireplace.
Is the best.
I know. So Pip the Builder's has been helping me construct things to make it look better. And for health and safety reasons, I have gone and bought a shovel as well as a pair of hard duty gloves.
Yes.
So,
Bunnings.
Yeah, Bunnings. So not only did I take my bag down to help fight period poverty, I also got a snag for my dog and bought a pair of gloves.
Got on the tools.
Yeah, it was great. So that's what I've been up to.
That's a great life update from you. Want to talk about a couple of things that have been happening. So a bit of breaking news on Sunday. We've got, you mentioned Tessa Levy returning to WNBL this weekend. So is her Richmond teammate. Monique Conti returns to the Southside Flyers, where she last played in the Hub in 2020 and won a championship. And this has come out of the teal, not out of the blue, out of the teal.
I love that.
Now, we know that they...
Did you practice that?
No, it just happened. It just happened. We know that they're probably... Well, they are down a guard because Dallas Loffridge, unfortunately, did her ACL on the eve of the season. So they needed an extra guard. Not sure how it's come about. Probably perfect timing, but it's a great addition.
Happy for her. And, if Southside wanted to get even more powerful, add in Mon Con. Bring her back to the league.
Monty, as I like to call her.
They're just going to, to add more depth to an already ridiculous deep team. That's just insane. So I'm excited to watch her do her thing on the basketball court because we've all had a very fun time watching her do her thing on the football field. What an absolute juggernaut, amazing. So I just think that she'll complement the depth of their bigs that they do have. Would love to see her coming off on-ball screens with LJ and Carly and Abby Bishop. It's going to be great, and she's a great facilitator. And I just think it's all good things for the league.
I spoke to her briefly yesterday and she's happy just to get back to the team because she really enjoyed her experience with them previously. I think that's a huge, huge part. It really doesn't matter about all the other factors that come into play. But if you have enjoyed playing at a club and you enjoy playing with the people that are on your team, that's usually enough to get people over the line.
Absolutely. And Cheryl's a player's coach. So.
Yeah. So, and as you said, they are big. They've got lots of depth, but they've got a lot of depth in those big spots.
They do.
So she's going to add some really crucial depth off the bench in terms of that guard rotation. Yeah. And we're going to see that this week because she's playing on Thursday, which we'll talk about in the preview.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about and pay tribute to some WNBL greats. I was up in Sydney at the weekend emceeing the Basketball New South Wales Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So Belinda Snell and Susie Batkovic were inducted as players, which was great.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, and they started their careers really together playing in that iconic AIS championship in 1998-99, and then they actually played in a championship straight out of the AIS at Sydney, and then 3 Olympics together, retired in the same WNBL season. Unfortunately, Snelly couldn't be there, but it was great to hear from Susie. And then speaking of icons, Lorraine Landon was inducted as a legend. So we know her incredible contribution to Australian basketball as an administrator and coming off leading what was the most attended World Cup in FIBA women's basketball history. So 3 stalwarts of the WNBL have been recognised in the Basketball New South Wales Hall of Fame.
As they should be. Yes to women. Yes to women.
And yes to newborn babies because you've got a baby brother.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So my dad and his partner welcomed a beautiful baby boy over the weekend and I am so excited. His name is Joe.
This is where we'll insert the photo of him.
Little baby
he's so
Joe.
cute.
He's just
the name is so cute.
He's just so squishy. And so I'm getting to meet him tomorrow actually. So by the time this airs, my Instagram will be completely saturated with just videos of me and Joe.
Do you think 2 rows on the grid?
Yeah, I think so. And so, one of my biggest values is family and I love being a sister. My brothers are the most important things to me in the world. I actually was talking to someone I speak to my brothers every day, sometimes twice a day. Their jobs mean they're on the road a lot too. So they call me at least twice a day when they're doing their things at work, I just think that's normal. And now I get another one. So it's just so awesome. They're my best friends, and now I got a new little best friend.
You've got a new best friend. It's Joe.
He's so cute.
Oh, it's lovely news. So congratulations to your dad, Paul, and also to Nat.
Nat Momsen, shout out.
Let's keep the brother theme going as we take a look now at a pic of you with your brothers, the older ones, not Joe. Where is this pic from?
So this was at my first time representing Victoria at an under-16 national championships, and my younger brother and my older brother came and they both had just before that photo washed off their full face paint and they had buckets with utensils and were screaming the loudest. They were drumming for me. They had capes on and big sparkly hats, and that photo is one of my favorites because they have come to almost all of my basketball things, and there's so many photos of them watching my games in the WNBL and at the World Cup, and they're just as passionate as they were in that photo.
I love that. So Marty and Fimba. How exciting is it going to be when we finally get the picture of Marty, Anneli, Fimba and Joe?
Oh, it's going to be so great. Keep an eye out. It's going to be sometime this week. Yeah. And I'm buying Joe a pair of those earmuffs. He's going to be at the games.
In a spirit jumper.
Yeah, in a little Maley shirt. It'll be great. I'm so excited.
Family is the best. It's been so nice to hear about your family, Anneli, and see some beautiful pictures of your brothers, old and new.
Old and new, exactly.
All right, let's look ahead to round 4 of the Signet WNBL because basketball's back, baby. That week felt a lot longer than a week.
That was a 6-month week. Why did that feel
6-month week?
So long?
Yeah. I went to Townsville last round for what was a great game between Townsville and Southside. Both
amazing.
Were undefeated at that stage. Fire came out on top. That feels like it was 6 months ago. So let's look ahead. We'll start with Wednesday night, and our game on ESPN is between the Adelaide Lightning and the UC Caps. I love that this game is between 2 new head coaches this season, 2 greats of the league. It's Nat Hurst and Kristen Veal.
How awesome. How great. I am excited to see this game. I know the UC Caps have struggled to get a win thus far, but I think you can never underestimate a team in the WNBL. Every team has talented players, and yes, they have lost some to injury, and the departure of Dakea Cohen is going to really, might hurt them in some ways, but, a team that has experienced loss is always a danger team because they have nothing to lose. So we can never count out Canberra ever. And it's so early in the season, and they do have so much young talent and old talent and just talent in general that I think they're going to push Adelaide, and it'll be a really entertaining game.
It's been exciting to watch Adelaide. It was great to see them get some reward. Last round after 3 losses to start the season by 8 points or under. So they've got some momentum now. I'm really excited for the continued build under Nat as well. You know all about it, of course, because your partner Marina is part of this Lightning team. Let's talk about it one more time. But Lauren Mansfield, obviously 7 from 7 from the 3-point line. But how good is it to see someone playing with just energy? She looks light. She looks happy, and she's playing that way. Confidence.
The confidence. The ball is on a string for her. It is moving so easily. She looks calm. She looks calculated. She looks free. And, credit to Loz, but also credit to that whole playing group that is supporting her and succeeding in that way. That doesn't just come from one player's amazing performance. It also comes from a coach instilling you with that sort of confidence. So I just think Loki agrees. Yay to Lauren Mansfield.
Good boy. The other one that I've got an eye on too at Adelaide is Kirsten Bell. I feel like she's really starting to hit her straps. We've always got to watch, on the imports, and particularly with the stories that they bring in too. So really excited to see her continued development in this league as we move on to Thursday night basketball. I love that too. It's the Flyers and the Flames at the State Basketball Centre. We mentioned Monique Conti. She comes into this Flyers lineup. The Flyers, obviously haven't played it'll have been over 2 weeks because they played that Wednesday game in the last round. So these things do come into consideration, considering some teams played like on the Sunday in that last round. So as you know, every day makes a difference.
It does. And some teams do better with the longer time in between games because it means they can rest, they can recuperate, they can kind of, rally together. And other teams need those games to kind of gel more and kind of learn how to play with each other. So it'll be interesting to see what response either of these teams have. But again, that's going to be a competitive game of basketball as well.
So Flyers coming off their first loss of the season against Townsville. Sydney continue their season on the road for now. You obviously played them first up. You play them later this round, which we'll talk about. But, they will take some confidence from the last time they were at the State Basketball Centre. They beat the Flyers in a practice game.
They did.
So, the Flyers weren't full strength, but hey, it still happened.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that, like I said earlier, every team is so talented. Anyone can beat anyone on any given day. It's all going to be about how the moving pieces work in a time span of 40 minutes, and absolutely anything can happen.
Now, Cygnet are donating money to Share the Dignity for every 3 scored this weekend. So I am getting on you, Shyla Hill. It's your time to hit the shots from downtown. So I'm going to get on Shyla this weekend
Shyla,
to make
Vanessa,
bank.
Tiana, get
Come
on
Flames,
that.
light up. You can do it. So Thursday night, love that. Into Friday night action, it's Townsville and Bendigo, the top of the table clash.
I can't wait.
You guys are off to sunny Townsville. This is going to be a cracker of a game. Why? Because the Bendigo are having their best start to a season since the 2012-13 championship, while it is Townsville's best start to a campaign since their 2014-15 title. So there's history there behind both the starts. Tell me where this game's going to be won.
Well, I think that Townsville are playing a very confident style of basketball, and, Steph Reed is playing amazing. I love watching Steph play, and I'd much rather have her on my team.
Which you did. We were talking about this recently.
And I loved playing with Steph, but I think that it's going to be a game obviously played over 40 minutes. Like there's going to be some team making runs at some point. There might even be a big lead, small lead. It's going to be about whoever can play consistently hard and not give up, multiple mistakes in a row or get on those loose possessions, dive into the crowd, all those things. Because playing against Townsville in front of a Townsville home crowd, even though we have a Froling, is going to be hard.
Even though we
have a Froling who is the Townsville native, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And, I'm excited to watch like Kelsey Griffin do her thing this weekend.
Yeah.
But, it'll be a good matchup, from guards to bigs, but it will be a 40-minute grind, maybe even overtime grind. It's going to be a process from start to finish.
It's going to be fascinating on so many fronts. Townsville put the defensive clamps on the Flyers, last round, which we saw was a really great coaching performance by Shannon Seaborn. But, on the other side, I can't wait to see what Kennedy has in store for the Spirit. Mentioned matchups. I want to see Kelsey, I was going to say banging heads, not literally, but going head to head with Tiana Hawkins.
Yes, I can't wait to see that.
There's just so many, so many great matchups. And I've got a little stat courtesy of the king of the WNBL, Mark Quinn at Basketball Australia, and it is about Lauren Nicholson, who's having an incredible start to the season. She's in career best form offensively for the Fire. She's shooting at 50% from the field, 62% from the three-point range. But what about this for a stat? Last time Lauren Nicholson played on a Friday night, she only scored 6 points, and it was against Adelaide. Lauren Nicholson, are you not a Friday night specialist? I think you are.
Don't poke the bear. Why would you do that? Loz, don't listen to her. Why would you do that?
Hey, it's not my information, but she lit it up for Townsville last round. It was a Wednesday.
Know.
It was a Wednesday.
I saw.
We've got all days now because we start Wednesday. We've got Thursday. So she's going to put those.
I don't want to poke the bear.
The 6 points are going in the Fire. She'll have.
I'm not going to comment on that. We're just, whatever happens. Don't poke the bear. Why would you?
No, I would never poke the bear. I love Lauren Nicholson more than most people. Let's continue on with Friday night action, and it's Perth and Melbourne in Perth for the second time in 4 rounds. Of course, it was a fairly close game first up, but the Boomers pulled away under what had been pretty challenging circumstances leading into round 1. They've had a loss to Southside, but 1 game's either side, and Perth are starting to find their identity, I think.
Yeah, they're a young group, Perth, but they're as talented as everyone else in the league. They've got a great coach. They've got a great system in place. They have returners from the season before. They're going to be ones to watch. I really do think, I am a Lauren Scherf fan till death. She's my ride or die. So I love just watching every game that Perth plays, and we're not playing on the same night. I'm a Perth Lynx fan. And an Adelaide Lightning fan, but a Perth Lynx fan. Because Lauren Scherf is just out here doing her thing, and I'm excited to watch the Scherf-George matchup. I think that'll be really entertaining.
Yeah, this is going to be a super interesting game. I'm really liking that Alex Sharp is getting in some form for Perth. And, of course, she hit a corner 3 to send the game to overtime when they played last year down in Gippsland. I love a little fact, a little fun fact.
Sharpie's clutch.
Yeah,
clutch.
She is from that corner. The
Give
Alex
her a
Sharp
game
corner.
winner, it's going in 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Action continues on Saturday with Adelaide hosting the Southside Flyers. It's the second game of a weekend for both those teams. I'll get you to quickly give me a tip.
It's going to be an Adelaide win.
Adelaide.
Come on, Marina Whittle's on that team.
True.
She's the MVP of the league, man.
Hard to argue with that.
It's a Marina Whittle show.
And then on Sunday, round 4 comes to a conclusion with Sydney playing their first home game of the season after being here, there and everywhere, back home in front of their fans for the first time, and they're hosting you.
It'll be another battle of the Frolings.
Yeah.
Things we love. Entertaining basketball, and I think Sydney haven't shown us what they're capable of yet. Yeah. They have such a deep, talented roster. They have scoring capabilities from absolutely everywhere, and I don't think they've even shown us what they can achieve. And, a Froling v Froling game is always entertaining for anyone involved. And, for Sydney to have their first home game of the season as well, that's just good for the club. It'll, everyone gets around it. They're going to have a lot of support from the community. It'll be a really great time.
Yeah, it's always good when a team plays in front of their home crowd for the first time. Well, it looks like we've put Loki to sleep.
Yeah, we have.
He's dreaming of the WNBL.
Can I ask him a question? Will he sniff? Loki. No? Yeah. I thought so too. That's exactly what I thought. Good job.
Anneli, it's been so good to have you back in the co-hosting seat. Good luck for a massive weekend. Can't wait to see what transpires, particularly against Townsville.
Thank you. And I'm going to real quickly plug my own podcast that is getting launched, I think either tonight or at some point tomorrow. It's called Under the Surface. I am doing interviews with past, present and future basketball players, not just WNBL, but NBL and coaches and anyone who's been involved in basketball, talking all things mental health, identity, life, under the surface of sport. And so that will be launching, and I'm sure the details will be linked below somewhere.
Oh, of course they will be. Click on the link. Well done, Anneli. You're reigning MVP and you're juggling 2 podcasts and literally a dog on your lap.
Yeah, he's doing great. You're doing great.
You're doing pretty great too, sweetie.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Well, it is Fighting Period Poverty round, so let's turn our focus now to the initiative and weekend ahead. And a bit earlier today, I caught up with Sydney coach Shane Hill and also Rochelle Courtney, the founder of Share the Dignity. Well, we have a new round in the Signet WNBL this season. It is Share the Dignity that we've teamed up with to fight period poverty. We are highlighting and speaking to a lot of different voices on this, and we head up to Sydney today to chat with the coach of the Sydney Flames, Shane Hill. Great to see you, Hammer.
Good on you, Megs. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I want to ask you about why you jumped at the opportunity when the league asked you to come on the WNBL show and chat about this round that we've got this weekend in the WNBL and why it's so important.
Well, I think it's really important. As a girl dad, 3 daughters, you jump behind these causes because I was shocked to learn that 1 in 5 women are affected by this. So, the league wanting to raise $25,000 to make sure that, people aren't affected is really important thing. So I think it's not just about women getting involved. I think men can and provide a positive outcome and a voice as well.
And you're spot on about being a girl dad. I guess your lot in life is to be surrounded by beautiful girls in the Hill family, but all of our male coaches in the Signet WNBL are dads, and we absolutely need men to be championing these causes for women and helping elevate the voice.
Yeah, no doubt. And, this is a great cause, but there's so many others as a girl dad as well, where we can mentor and, encourage other dads to play active parts in young daughters' lives that need really strong role models. So, I think that's part of, the coaching role and mentoring role that we have. So happy to be involved and, I hope, us as a league can make a really big difference.
And we are trying to do that, of course, by raising $25,000 to fund a vending machine. Some really startling stats have come across our desks as we really read up ahead of this weekend. And one of them for me, bringing back the sport theme, was that 65% of females have missed sport because of their period. And, you talked about being a girl dad, girls coming through basketball from an early age, and participation is hard enough at the best of times, let alone something so natural that happens to the female body, stopping girls and women from getting on court and playing the sport they love.
Yeah, and hopefully this plays a small part, doesn't it? And, just the conversation and, we've both learnt things through this round of these stats. So, hopefully, some serious things happen with this and that this can grow year on year as well.
Now, you guys can see that I am wearing the Fighting Period Poverty t-shirt. The players will be all wearing these in the warm-ups before round 4, and they're available for purchase, which is great because we've got amazing fans and supporters within our clubs and around the league, don't we, Shane? So you can snap up one of these t-shirts, and of course that money goes towards us funding the vending machine.
Yeah, and the crowds have been fantastic this year. We can't wait to get on the road and play Southside. And obviously with LJ back, their fans have been, coming out in swarms, as you would, to be able to see, the greatest of all time do it. So, yeah, hopefully we see a lot of people in those T-shirts come this weekend.
And we were talking about the things that we've learned as we've been researching and educating ourselves ahead of this round. I guess for me, the definition of period poverty, which is the lack of access to sanitary products, menstrual hygiene, education, toilets, hand washing facilities and waste management. So it's quite a broad definition, something that I wasn't even sure what it meant. So that's been a really big thing for me, learning so much. And that's something I guess that, we need for females across the board in day-to-day life. But again, bringing back the sport theme, in stadiums, training facilities, for supporters at games, it's a really wide thing that we're able to hit on across this weekend.
Yeah, it is. And, I was blown away in 2022 that we're actually going through this and understand that people are affected by this, is incredible to me. So let's make a difference. And, hopefully next year it's 50,000 that we're able to raise and make an even bigger difference.
Absolutely. And we know that our fans and people throughout the WNBL community are really good at jumping on board and supporting a cause. So we know that it's going to be so well supported this weekend as we try and hit that $25,000 barrier. And of course, you can check out the WNBL website and socials for more information about how you can contribute to this round, because we shared the dignity. You can put a bag together, drop that off at Bunnings. It's been great to see players doing that in the lead up to this round of Signet WNBL. Let's focus in a bit on the round now, Shane, because you mentioned that the Flames are on the road to Victoria this weekend. You've got two massive games against the Flyers on Thursday night, and then you're off to Bendigo to take on the Spirit once again.
Yeah, it's the challenges don't get any easier when you're playing against a team like Southside and the sort of talent that they have. So, it's a challenge that we're looking forward to. This is our fourth straight game on the road, and they've got a great team. I think they're probably the most talented team in the league. They had a bit of a setback against Townsville, so they'll be looking to bounce back, but, so will we as well. So, I think our team's going to continue to get better as the season goes on and, making adjustments without Kalani Purcell, who, announced she was pregnant before the first game. And whilst I was unbelievably excited for her, I cried all the way home in the car to not have her. So she's going to be sorely missed, but, we've got to find solutions.
Before we focus in on the Flames, I do want to ask you about LJ, because you were at a couple of Olympics with LJ, and I don't think you would have coached against her because she wasn't playing when you were coaching in SEQ. No. So how do you feel about coaching against her? Someone that, you've had a lot of experiences with as a player.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge, isn't it? With the size that she's got, but also the talent that she's got as well. It's a big challenge. We're an undersized team and we just have to scout like we do anyone else. You don't want to build it up too much because, you want your players to be able to take that challenge and believe they can get it done. And but it's hard. She's great in the block with her size, but she can shoot the three ball as well. And just the amount of experience that she's got over so many years, she's got so many things that you just can't teach in a short period of time. So we're looking forward to it, but they've got a lot of other good players as well. So we can't really just focus on what LJ's doing because they've got talent all the way across the board.
Tell us a bit about the Flames' start to the season so far. We know you had the bye in round one and then you've been on the road, which you are still for a couple more games. But take us through, some of the positives you have seen despite the fact that you haven't been able to nail a W yet.
Yeah, it's been tough. I was disappointed that we had a bye in the first round and come up against a really good Bendigo team after playing a couple of games. So, we were a bit off it. Felt like we got bullied. And again, they're going to be, a chance for the championship as well. And then we go to Perth and felt like we did enough to win that game. We're up 6 with 5 minutes to go. And, some calls from referees that probably won't be refereeing for the next few weeks hurt us, and they made some big shots. So that was disappointing. And, we're a little bit off it against Adelaide. They shot the ball unbelievably well, 14 from 26 from three. We haven't been able to shoot the ball well at all in any three games, but I think that will come. We've got some players that can hit the three ball, and we've just been a little bit dry. So I think that the good thing is we're staying positive and understand it takes hard work to be able to get out of a skid, and hopefully that starts Thursday.
Adelaide are a good example though, because they lost their opening 3 games and then, yes, their first win did come over you, but you can probably take some lessons out of, Adelaide, losing the first few and then finally getting some reward as you embark on your first win.
Yeah, well, they had a really tough start too. They were on the road for the first 3 games like us, and it's a game of inches sometimes. The amount of open shots or layups that we've missed, and Adelaide came down and penalised us and hit a 3. They're 5-point turnarounds, and a lot of 50-50 balls we didn't get. We haven't rebounded the ball well, so all areas that we feel like are within our control that we have to just stay positive and work through it, and it'll happen. We've got quality players, and whilst we're the youngest team in the league, which hasn't really been spoken about, I think, by more than 15 years in total, it's good. They're into it and continue to learn and develop.
Really looking forward to seeing the further development of your imports, Jocelyn and Hannah, this season. Tell us a bit about them and what you're looking forward to seeing from them as they continue to evolve in the WNBL.
Yeah, I really think that Jocelyn can be one of the best imports in the entire competition. She's such a pro on the day-to-day, high IQ player, just really into it. But she's got upside. She struggled against Adelaide. They did a great job and come up against Steph Talbot, but she needs other people to be able to step up to take a little bit of that pressure off and create space as well. But she's really good. And, there's more pressure on Hannah now without Kalani because we signed her to be working with Kalani and share court time. And now as the starting centre as a rookie import, it makes it harder. But again, she's a great student and into it and passionate, and she's going to continue to learn all the time. So she'll play a valuable role as we keep moving forward.
And then let's talk about your guards. Your girls, Shyla and Tiana Mangakar here. It's a new guard combination at Sydney, but not the first time they've been on court together. Certainly this year, of course, playing together in the NBL 1. And there's been a lot of change at Sydney and you guys are young. So, of course, it's going to take a couple of weeks to get going, but it's going to be super exciting when those two are firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think so. And neither Shyla or Tiana have shot the ball well from the 3-point line, nor has Vanessa Panousis, who we've got a lot of confidence in that she can come off the bench and hit some trifectas for us as well. But, we think we can step it up a little bit more at the defensive end. And Tiana's had to make an adjustment a little bit as well. She's used to playing the point as Shy is, so trying to balance that combination of getting her to the 2 and finding ways to be able to contribute from that spot as well was always the vision of what we were doing and the challenge that we accepted to be able to do. So, week in, week out, they'll all continue to improve.
Let's hope that the Flames are hot from the 3 this weekend because Signet will be donating $50 for every 3-point shot in round 4 to share the dignity. And I reckon Shyla, Tiana, Vanessa and co can get the money rolling this weekend. Shay, let's hope that that's look at your face.
Well, they wouldn't have been too worried over the last 3 weeks, so they won't be having to dig too deep. But hopefully that turns around. We've taken a lot of shots over this break and had a little bit of sickness as well, but starting to get through that. So hopefully the 3 balls are flowing like they were in the preseason and we were feeling good about ourselves.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go, that's it because you had a great preseason. You had a win over the Flyers in preseason here in Melbourne. So we'll get over this weekend first, but you guys must be so excited to get back home next round and play in front of the fans finally.
Yeah, well, we've got the double header at Kudos Bank Arena with the Kings, and the Kings are on first. We're on second on the 4th of December, so we want a big crowd to be able to hang around and support our girls as well. So that'll be exciting, and then we get back on the road again. But I think we've got 7 games in December, so when you go through this sort of process, you've got to stay positive and know that there's some big games coming up and, you can easily turn around a few losses into a bit of a winning streak as well. So that's our mindset.
Well, the Kings playing curtain raiser to the Flames is exactly how it should be. So looking forward to that next week. But sooner than that, looking forward to a huge round coming up for Fighting Period Poverty, the Flames in Victoria this weekend, playing the Flyers and the Spirit. Hammer, thanks so much for joining me on the show today. Looking forward to seeing you guys down in Victoria this weekend and thanks for doing your bit for this great cause.
Yeah, thanks, Megs. And jump on board, everybody. Great cause.
It's Fighting Period Poverty round in round 4 of the Signet WNBL, and I'm delighted to have the founder of Share the Dignity, Rochelle Courtney, with us on the show today. Rochelle, thanks so much for your time. It's great to see you.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here. Who would ever believe that basketball would be mixed with period poverty?
Well, it's a wonderful combination, and we're so happy to be partnering with Share the Dignity. How important is it to be spreading your message amongst women's sport?
Yeah, I think that the fact that there are women and girls in Australia who can't afford the very basic of essentials and are using socks and newspaper and wadded up toilet paper to deal with their period is just not okay here in Australia. And I know that my job has always been to make sure that there isn't a person in Australia who doesn't know that this problem exists, because we're part of the solution. So having women's basketball on board is really important, because the more people who know about it, the more people can help us make a difference.
It's so true. And we had Sydney coach Shane Hill on for a chat. He's a girl dad and, of course, a coach in this league. And it's great to have men using their voice to elevate this message as well. And we were just saying that we've learnt so much looking at some of the statistics, and they're really damning and really significant. When did you first learn about this problem and the statistics and how damning they are in Australia?
Yeah, look, in 2015, I read an article that Mamma Mia wrote that talked about how many women were experiencing homelessness in Australia. There were 48,000 women who didn't have somewhere safe to call home. And while I'd thought about what would happen for women not being safe, where do they sleep, what do they eat, all of those sorts of things, I'd never thought about the fact that they get their period like everybody else, and how would they deal with that. And to read that they were using wadded up toilet paper and socks to deal with their period was mind-blowing to me. That was in 2015. And back then I had my own personal training business, and I asked all of my clients to bring me a packet of pads or tampons for every wine they had in the month of March 2015. Some of my clients would just come with bags and go, "Don't count them, babe, just take them." So we collected 450 packets of pads and tampons, and we gave them out to 5 different charities. But it's not like we're giving a woman a warm jacket and it keeps her warm for years. This is a monthly problem, and the problem is so much bigger than I ever imagined. So I never took into account that actually 173,000 women turned to homelessness services last year. That doesn't include our remote Indigenous sisters or our drought-stricken farming communities, or the people who are living one paycheck to another, who just simply can't afford their rent, electricity, their fuel and their food, and their kids' sports and all of those sorts of things, and are having to go without. So whilst we've now collected 3.8 million packets of pads and tampons to distribute to our 3,000 plus charities around Australia, there's been many times that I've been in a fetal position just going, this problem just seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's just incredible listening to that. And I think, talk about folding toilet paper up, and, that's something that resonates with me in high school, where, we would get our period, particularly when we were young girls getting it for the first time, and we mightn't have been prepared. But there was certainly nothing at our public school to help us with that. And one of the big things we're doing in this round with the WNBL is aiming to raise $25,000 for the installation of a dignity vending machine in Australia. So something like that can help all women, because that's something that we all do have in common, is that we get our periods, and that's just the way it is. But we need pads and tampons to be able to deal with that monthly.
Absolutely. And the dignity vending machines was an idea that came to me when I was in a homelessness shelter, and a woman came up to the counter and asked 2 men whether she could get sanitary items. And one man said to the other, "Do you know where the sanitary items are?" And he said, "Yeah, they're upstairs." And he came back and he said, "Do you want pads or tampons?" And she said, "Oh, can I have them both?" And the man said, "Can she have them both?" And I just thought I would have died and crawled up into a hole before I even came to the counter to ask the men for pads and tampons. So fighting period poverty is about so much more than just access to sanitary items. But that is one part that we were able to, I literally thought we need to have a vending machine that dispenses them for free. And obviously I also We also have the timing mechanism on the vending machine so that when we installed them in schools or homelessness centres, they couldn't just be pressed and put on the ground. We now have 352 of those machines installed around Australia, and making sure that people can have access to them with the dignity that they deserve is the highest priority to us. So I'm super excited to see that we're raising money together to make that happen. When I say that access to sanitary items is one part of eradicating period poverty, that is one part. The other part is removing that shame and stigma, right? Which is where basketball is coming in. When we talk about it, we remove the shame. But there is also another really big component to it, and that's about educating. It's about educating boys and girls at school, because those boys who haven't been educated in the past end up being somebody's partner, somebody's husband, somebody's father, and somebody's boss. And without them having that knowledge about what 51% of the population goes through, how does that happen here in Australia? So, eradicating period poverty has multi-layers to it, and we're just chipping away at doing what we can.
Well, the round that we're having in the Signet WNBL for fighting period poverty has multiple layers too. And as you can see, I'm wearing the T-shirt today that the teams will be warming up in before their games in round 4. These are also available for purchase with the proceeds contributed to the donation appeal. But there's lots of ways that we are creating awareness, beginning the conversations and contributing this round. There will be product donation boxes at all games during round 4, so you can bring sanitary products and donate them yourselves. And then we've also seen players already sharing on social media, buying products and bags and taking them off to Bunnings to donate for the It's in the Bag campaign, where we're calling for Australians to deliver bags filled with essential items to Bunnings stores nationwide so they can be given to women throughout the festive period. So it's really important that there's not just one stream to be able to get involved, that there's multiple ways to get involved and support this initiative this round.
Absolutely. How exciting it is to see the women who are playing basketball that so many youngsters look up to, sharing the knowledge about period poverty and making people aware that this problem exists, because I can tell you that there are millions and millions of Australians who do not know that this problem even exists.
Well, that's right. And one of the other stats that we've come across heading into this round is that 65% of females have missed sport because of their period. So it's wonderful to be able to combine women's sport and this amazing initiative in this fighting period poverty round, and the conversations are so crucial. And I thank you so much for joining us on the WNBL show this week. We can't wait to work with you and hopefully achieve some amazing outcomes this round and beyond.
Thank you so much.
Well, another massive edition of the WNBL show. Really can't wait for round 4, fighting period poverty, which is coming up starting Wednesday night with the UC Capitals taking on Adelaide in Adelaide. So many ways to get involved this round. Hopefully we've told you all about them. Of course, you can read more on the WNBL website or on the socials, but hoping to see lots of these T-shirts at the games across the weekend. And please get involved and donate and support the cause however you can. Have a great weekend of basketball, and we'll see you next week on the WNBL show.